So there isn't much to talk about today in this video, but I wanted to talk about Conor McGregor versus KSI. Apparently, Conor McGregor calls out KSI after the Anthony Joshua fight on the DAZN broadcast. Now, I'm going to be talking about this matchup, and do I think this matchup's even going to happen? Do I think Conor is serious? And plus, Conor did reveal when he says he's going to fight Michael Chandler. So I'm going to talk about all that and more in this video, but before I get into it, I just want to remind you guys to hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share, because we're trying to hit 20K by the end of the year, and it would really help, guys. You guys are showing a lot of support in my past videos, so please just hit the subscribe button so we can make it to the goal. So yeah, I want to talk about KSI versus Conor McGregor. Now today, or rather yesterday, Anthony Joshua versus Robert Helenius. That fight took place where Anthony Joshua got a brutal knockout of Robert Helenius in that 7th round. Beforehand was a little bit boring, but yeah, AJ got a massive right hand KO out cold of Robert Helenius, which isn't obviously a surprise. He did take the fight on short notice, coming off of a brutal knockout from the one and only Deontay Wilder, where obviously Deontay's power is out of this world. So a knockout from him, man, you should take a lot of time to recover. I even think this was soon, and I mean, it was like a, 10-month return. I think you should have at least took a year and then took a fight or something like that. But like I said, afterwards, Conor McGregor went on the mic and said this.
And I know your man KSI is in the crowd, yeah? And he couldn't box eggs if he worked in an egg boxing factory. So if he wants to get in here, I'll give him a final, bare knuckle if you want.
Now, first of all, I want to say that Jake Paul is definitely somewhere crying. So look, I think we should put him on suicide watch. All the police in Puerto Rico, make sure that this guy isn't hanging anywhere, because this guy has been trying to get a fight with Conor McGregor since about 2020. And this has been his dream. Like, this is why he's fighting MMA fighters, and that is where he is building towards. That is his final guy. I don't want to hear about Canelo. He might say Canelo is the final boss, but it's not. He knows he's not going to fight Canelo, or I at least hope so. But Conor McGregor is that final boss, and Conor has given him basically very little acknowledgement. I mean, over the past week, he did reply to Jake Paul's tweet, but other than that, it's very minimal. He very much brushes him off, and it's because he knows Jake Paul is really fiending to fight him, right? He knows how badly Jake Paul wants it, where KSI did play it smart. He played it nonchalant when asked about Conor McGregor. It wasn't like he obviously wanted that fight. A matter of fact, he even said that his next fight might be his last fight, so he was saying the opposite. And if we're going to be honest, I think KSI for Conor McGregor is a better matchup, and I'm going to talk about why. I think that's a fight that's easier for Conor McGregor, but yeah, KSI didn't really have much of a response to this other than, you know, making fun of Jake Paul, basically saying how Conor McGregor is on his dick already. I don't think KSI has any intention of fighting Conor McGregor. I think that there's a lot of money to be made if he did fight Conor McGregor, but logistically, it's not going to happen. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's never going to happen, simply because Conor's with the UFC, and yes, he has only 2 fights left in his deal. Obviously, the next one being Chandler, and if he does fight him in December, then he's going to have only 1, right? And so there is a chance that he just fights out that final UFC fight and then leaves and does his own boxing thing, which I don't think would be so bad for Conor McGregor. However, he does like being with the UFC. He has stated this many times. He says he loves the UFC and loves that they are the best in the world. So yeah, I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to re-sign with the UFC, and then this fight will never happen. And I also don't think that KSI really cares. Like, I don't know. I think if the opportunity arose, I'm not so sure if KSI would say no, but I'm not so sure that he's really even looking for it, because it is a tough matchup, and I'm going to talk about why. My prediction for this fight, if it ever did happen, would probably be Conor McGregor by knockout, probably early, because Conor McGregor has crazy power. And the thing is maybe a couple years ago, you could have said, hey, KSI probably has a size advantage. But now KSI has gotten a lot smaller, and Conor McGregor has gotten a lot bigger, that honestly, walking around, I could see Conor McGregor being bigger than KSI. Like, Conor McGregor probably walks around about the 180 range, and although I want him to lose weight and fight at lightweight because I think those matchups are a bit more interesting, I'm not so sure where he is with the weight. He definitely lost weight in The Ultimate Fighter if you watch the first episode to the latest one, but regardless, I think that he probably is around KSI's weight, and we know KSI can make 175, so I could see a scenario if they ever did fight, which, like I said, I don't think is going to happen, but I could see them fighting at 175 or something like that. I think that's a fairer matchup. And another thing about Conor McGregor, one of his best skills is counter-striking, especially countering that big right hand, which KSI throws all the time. So does Jake Paul. I could see Conor McGregor's instincts really helping him and just countering KSI, really hurting him, getting him to back up, and I think he'll knock him out within 2 rounds. That is my prediction. KSI is very unorthodox, and yes, you could make that argument with a lot of fights, like Tommy Fury. Like, I think that KSI has a better chance of beating Tommy Fury than Jake Paul does in a rematch. But the reason I actually favor Jake Paul over KSI is for multiple reasons. First of all, Jake Paul is a lot bigger. He probably walks around at like 200 pounds. The guy is a big dude. And yes, I'm sure that he would, you know, obviously have to weigh in a lot less for a Conor McGregor fight, and I'm sure Jake Paul would probably weigh his lowest just to fight Conor. But the weight is there. We know he has the power. He's knocked out guys like Tyron Woodley and everything like that. And I think that Conor would do well, and I actually think that Conor would beat him, but I think that he would do a bit better. I could see him, you know, land landing the jab, maybe even knocking down Conor McGregor with a good shot. And it really also depends how long the fight is too with Jake Paul. Also, Jake Paul just has way more boxing experience over better opponents. And I think for Conor McGregor, I think the better boxer is going to win. I would probably say Conor McGregor is at this point, especially after watching the Nate Diaz fight. But I probably have to go with, yeah, Conor McGregor being the better boxer in that matchup. And I think just the better boxer wins because I think they're going to go tit for tat, a typical boxing match. And I just think that Conor would probably win. I think he's going to really hurt Jake Paul. I think he would probably back him up, land the left hand a couple times. He just has to really be careful not to gas himself out. And other than that, I think he'll be fine. And also, Jake Paul doesn't have an amazing gas tank either. And plus, usually Jake fights at 8 rounds, even if it's a 10-round fight. Conor made it 10 rounds against Floyd. I think he's going to be able to make it 10 rounds against Jake, and he's been working on his boxing even more. So for me, I think with the reflexes and everything like that, Conor McGregor is really made for boxing, and I think that was the big difference between him and a lot of MMA fighters that go into boxing is because his reflexes and his counters are really good, and his boxing is also really good. That's something that he's worked on. Definitely hurts him at MMA that he works on it so much, but in terms of a boxing fight, I think he would do very good against KSI or Jake Paul. He did call KSI out for a bare knuckle boxing match. I don't think that's going to happen. Like I said, I don't think any of this is going to happen, but to me, what's interesting about it is, listen, where is Conor McGregor's head at right now? Is it trying to fight the best in the world, or is it trying to fight these kind of clowns and just look for easy fights? Like, where is his motivation? And I don't want to look too deep into things because just because he wants to fight KSI doesn't necessarily mean he's not motivated, and I don't think it's fair for me to just make that assumption. However, for me, no, you have a fight with Michael Chandler booked. Like, can we focus on getting this fight booked before you call out KSI, Jake Paul, whoever it may be? And I mean, like I said, I get it. KSI is a big name right now, especially recently, a lot of people talking to him, talking about him in the fight with Tommy Fury, plus Jake Paul just fighting brings up KSI's name, of course. And Conor, as we know, likes to attach himself with any fight. Almost every UFC pay-per-view or any massive fight, he's tweeting about it, he's putting his name in the conversation, and that's what makes him a really good promoter and has gotten him where he is in terms of superstar status. And yeah, just he's able to connect his name to a lot of things that don't really even have to do with him. Like KSI and Conor McGregor are as far apart as possible, and it's just him getting his name out. I think the plan is and always will be to stay with the UFC until maybe he does want to do something with boxing. But I don't think that time is now. I think no matter how much Conor talks, we know he talks a lot of shit. Last week he said he wanted to fight Justin Gaethje. This week he said he wants to fight Michael Chandler in December. You don't know what's going on with him. He just loves to basically mess around. Probably also put thoughts in Michael Chandler's head. I don't think the matchup happens. I don't think it ever happens. I don't think it will ever happen. I think for multiple reasons to, kind of conclude this video. I think, KSI is not really into it. I don't think Conor McGregor is truly into it if he wants to stay with the UFC. I think he'll always choose the UFC over fighting KSI, at least right now. We don't know what the future is going to bring, but at least at this moment, I think there's too many big fights there. I mean, you got the Nate Diaz fight. He wants to win a title, and you got to fight Chandler. So just that alone isn't 2 fights, and he only has 2 fights on the deal. So I'm confident he's going to sign back up with the UFC, but I do hope that the fight with Chandler happens in December. Like I said, I'm not giving up hope just yet, simply because, look, the UFC is willing to bend the rules for Conor McGregor. He's the precious superstar. Of course, they are going to. So for me, guys, I really wouldn't say, oh man, he's not fighting Chandler in December. Do I think it's going to happen? Honestly, I'm probably the last person to say that the fight's not happening in December, but the day has come. In my opinion, it is not going to happen in December. I think it's going to happen in January. I've been holding out hope for a while, but I don't think it's necessarily dead. I think there's at least a 40% chance that the fight is going to happen in December, but I think within the beginning of the year. But every day, I mean, it's just time goes by and by. I just want to see Conor McGregor fight, man. Enough with the shit talk. Tough has been all right. Like, let's just get him back in the octagon. That's all you want to fucking see at this point. But guys, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What do you guys think about a potential matchup with KSI and Conor McGregor? Can't believe Conor McGregor called him out. But let me know how you think the matchup would go. Obviously, I guess KSI does have a lot of power, but I just think Conor does as well, and I think he's just better at countering. So I got Conor McGregor. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. You guys are the best fan base in MMA, and I'll see you guys in the next one.